How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Is It a Buy, where we talk about stocks and try to determine if they are worth a buy or maybe a pass. My name is Corey. I just like to preface the video by saying I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who likes to talk about stocks, so please take what I say with a grain of salt, all right? Today I have something a little bit different for you. I had someone in my my chat, right? And I was doing a live stream, and someone said something in the chat that kind of bothered me a little bit. This person, essentially, they said that they would feel bad if they had to sell the shares at 100,000 per share, and this is of course talking about the squeeze. The stock price runs up, then they have to sell it. They have their shares they've been holding for all this time, and it's finally time. Let's say the stock runs up to $100,000, and they're ready to sell or whatever it is, and they were like, I'd feel bad, like. That's what they were saying. They would feel bad, and they were also scared that they wouldn't get the money, like that the bank wouldn't process it, the bank wouldn't allow it, which is like so sad to think about. Like that's their concern, that the bank is going to come after them for having that much money. Whenever these hedge funds have billions and billions of dollars, it really bothered me. So I kind of want, and I understand what they're talking about, but there are consequences for people's actions, and that's why I wanted to make this video. I figure I'll share with you guys a short story from my youth. And so when I was in high school, I was probably 9th or 10th grade. I was young in high school. And I was always hustling, right? I was always looking for things online, and I would try to sell them in school or whatever, or like outside of school on Craigslist at the time. And so just little hustles like that, right? And so one time I found cell phones, and these cell phones, I don't know, they were going for like $200 on eBay, something like that. And I could get so I wanted to have a good profit margin. I found this website online, and essentially what happened was, long story short, I found that website. They said that they were using like Western Union, like money, like MoneyGram, cash, whatever it is. It's basically cash. Once you send it, it's gone. It's not PayPal where you can combat it. It's what's it called? And then on the website, it said we use this because our prices are so low that there's no, we don't have to deal with the PayPal fees, something like that. Okay. So me being young, I was like, what I did is I was like, you know what? Okay, I just get some capital, and I'll sell the phones, and then I'll buy them and I'll ship them. Great. It all made sense in my young mind. And guys, I've already dealt with this, so no hate. But look, so what I did is I sold the product that I did not have. And then, they sold, and then I tried to buy them on the website. They accepted my money. Sure enough, the MoneyGram went straight to them. And long story short, I never got the product. Of course, I was scammed. And so, this is not a lesson in scamming, but be very careful. That's why I like to use PayPal and stuff. But, I got burned, and I learned my lesson from it. Okay. But the moral of that is like, and on top of that, so that all happened. And then guess what? To this day, I am banned from selling, I think it's cell phones or specific electronics, or maybe it's all electronics, on eBay to this day. And that was 10 years ago or whatever. So our actions have consequences, okay? And this ties into what is going on, like what is happening right now. Here's a little quote that I had seen. Here's the original post, but I do like having it in this larger format. So this person says, counterfeiting is a crime because it undermines the government's power to control currency. Counterfeiting shares is not. Essentially, naked short sellers are printing their own money and using it to rob everyone of their money. They're double crooks. And this is what's happening, right? They either borrow the shares, they're getting these naked shares, and they're selling the shares that they don't own. And for me, I was fairly lucky. All I had to do was return the money that was never even my account. I just had to reverse the funds and explain to them what happened. I got kind of a slap on the wrist from PayPal, and I got very lucky, right? No legal repercussions, nothing like that. Okay. But that's kind of what's happening here, right? Like, it's ridiculous how these guys are just getting away with what is going on. And they only get a slap on the wrist. Imagine me renting a car from Enterprise or something. I rent a car and then I just go and sell it. and I just sold it to somebody, rented it for, I don't know, $100 for the day, because I just wanted to get rid of it. So let's say it was a nice car. Let's say I sold that car for $20,000, or let's say I sold it for $5,000, because I don't care. I just want to get it out of my hair and make a quick buck or whatever I was trying to do. And now let's say the time comes when they're like, hey, Corey, this is Enterprise. We need the car back. It's like, and I'm just, like, what's the late fee? Oh, it's $10 a day. I'll say, or $15 a day, $20 a day. I'll say, oh, sure. And I'll delay it, track down that person and call them and say, hey, like, I need that car. And they said, what? Like, they're like, no, I'm not going to sell you the car. No, I'm not going to sell you the car. And this goes on and on and on. I'm paying that fee every single day, right? And this is basically what's happening. These hedge funds have to pay these fees in order to continue with their positions. And imagine this goes on long enough, and they're like, Corey, Enterprise calls me and say, Corey, if you don't bring this freaking car back right now, you're going to prison. And so what would I do? I would pay any amount. And imagine I had the money. Imagine if I called that person, I was like, hey, I'll give you $100,000. Just give me the car back, please. Because I have the money. These hedge funds have the money. And that person will say, make it 200,000. They sense my desperation. They can charge me whatever they want, because I have the money. I'd rather pay the money than go to prison. Okay. And so that's basically what's happening with these guys. I'll say, fine, take the money, take your car back. And like, I'm done with this situation. I'm so happy it's over with. That's basically what's happening with these hedge funds. These guys are like in a terrible, terrible, terrible position. And they are just, kicking the can down the road. I think they're looking for an exit strategy. I don't think they're going to find one. I think the DTC filings, are going to mess them up, and they're going to have to cover. And, it was because of their own greed, their own, stupidity, really, their own illegal actions, that they're in this position. Okay. And so whenever it comes to taking the money from these guys, you're not even taking the money. They put themselves in a terrible position, and they're good for it. These guys have been doing this kind of illegal stuff for who knows how long, and it's finally just being cracked down on, finally being recognized. People are finally talking about it, and they're in a bad position. Okay. And I just wanted to bring that to people's attention, just because people need to understand, like, and I'm going to give you one more example, and then I'll just kind of leave it as this. Let's say you're a bank robber, right? Let's say I'm a bank robber. Okay. And so I go to the banks and I rob them. Let's say I get $5 million per bank. Okay. And I rob a bank, I get away with it. Sure. No problem. And then I rob another bank, get away with it. Sure. So $10 million, right? And now let's say I rob a bank, I get caught. Okay, now, the police or whatever, they're like, hey, you're going to have to give us imagine if my only repercussion was, hey, you're going to have to give us $100,000 or else. And I would say, oh, okay, I get to keep the money, and I just have to give you $100,000. They say, yes. Yeah. Heck yeah. And then I'll just keep doing it. What makes me stop? There are no repercussions. If they had to give back 100% of the shares, or 100% of the profit, or 80% of the profit, then that's a different story. These guys would be in a bad position, right? They just have to give back everything. It's not worth it to them anymore to do these illegal things and everything else that they're doing with the rules and stuff. It wouldn't make any sense and we talked about this. If you see my previous video with the algorithms, essentially what they're doing is there's a whole bunch of stuff. I'm sorry. It's too much to go into right now. This video is already getting kind of long, but look, they're doing all these things where essentially they're just getting small fines, and they're happy to pay them. In the congressional hearings, they said it's worked into their cost of doing business. There are no issues. Now, what needs to change is there needs to be harsher penalties. If they are naked or naked shorting, whatever they're doing, if you get caught once, okay, maybe slap on the wrist. Sure. If it's your first time ever doing it, sure. Hey, you can have a fine, and that's that. And maybe it is $100,000, or maybe the fine should ramp up. Maybe it should be a percentage of what their company is worth. Maybe, something that they'll feel, 30% of the company, 10% of, in a fine, that's something they would feel. There was Facebook had a fine, I don't know, a few years ago. We all know what happened with them, with the security and the privacy, all this stuff. And they're fine. Someone did the math of it. And it was basically like 0.0001% of their company or something like that. It was a very small fine. And I'm saying company, but like the profits and what the company's worth and stuff. And it was a very small fine. But my point is there's no real consequence for these guys other than these fines. And by the way, for the Facebook one, it was essentially like, if I had to pay a penny of a fine, like that's how ridiculous of a fine it was for a company the size of Facebook, for example. And so it's just unbelievable how there's no real accountability, nothing to really have them stick to the rules. Let's say we were driving, we get a speeding ticket. Okay, well now I have, I get a point on my license or whatever. And after that happens enough times, my license is suspended and now I'm stuck, maybe restrict trading. There's so many different things that we could do for these hedge funds to stop them from being in their positions and doing these illegal things. And remember, it's not like they're just doing this illegal stuff. Nobody gets hurt, blah, blah, blah. Well, not exactly. These guys are basically able to control the entire stock and make the stock go in their favor by what they're doing. Okay. And so this is why they're in a really bad position, because they've been caught and now it's a standoff and it's not looking good for them. Okay. So I just wanted to bring that up really quick, a little bit of a different video, but I'm worried that more people are feeling that way, that people are like, oh, are we going to get paid or is this and that? If it runs up, there's no reason that you shouldn't get paid. You shouldn't like have your bank shouldn't restrict any of these funds from going through. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. Okay. And so I just wanted to cover that really quick. Yeah, so sorry, I know it was a little bit of a different video today, but hopefully people can understand and what is going on. We're kind of just holding right now, and so I'm feeling good about everything, just kind of relaxing. And so I figured I just wanted to share that a little bit of information with you guys. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch the video. If you do like the video, the content, consider subscribing, liking the video. You guys know what it is. So I appreciate you guys again. Have a good day. Peace.